It's time for the ultimate iPhone 13 series battery test. The biggest new feature in the iPhone 13 family have got to be the bigger batteries, and of course the longer battery life. Apple is addressing one of the biggest complaints of people had with the iPhone 12 series, so now we have a 10% larger battery on the iPhone 13 mini and up to 20% larger battery on the 13 Pro Max. And right about now, you should see a bunch of iPhones lined up on your screen, all charged up and ready to go for a massive battery test. We have the iPhone SE on the left, then we have all 4 iPhone 12 models, and finally the 4 new iPhone 13 models on the right. And you'll see the name of each phone and the battery size with the battery capacity, each of the models, and you can definitely notice those larger numbers on the iPhone 13. All throughout the series we have larger battery capacities. So as I talk, it's time to get this test started. So we unplug the phones one by one and start with our web browsing test. We have set the screens on all phones to be at exactly the same level of brightness, 200 nits, to ensure equal conditions, and we're running the same set of web pages, reloading and scrolling like little robots on each of the iPhones. So as we're watching this, it's kind of mesmerizing, but for me there were a few interesting battery life questions I wanted to see answered here. The first one, since I'm an iPhone mini type of person, is whether Apple has finally fixed the battery life on the mini. And the second big question is about the Pro Max, which everyone says gets great battery life. Well, how good is it really? By the way, if you enjoy watching this test, a sub to the channel would be great too. Anyway, so as the phones are running, we won't show you the full duration of the test since it lasts a very long time, but this right here is only a placeholder run. So let's fast forward the boring part and skip to the moment when the iPhone SE is the first one to die while all others are still running. So the SE scores 9 hours and 5 minutes here, which is not a bad score. If you're just using it for just a bit of texting and browsing the web, it will last you through the day. But it's still a big gap from all the other iPhones that last quite a bit longer. So again, let's fast forward, let's not wait, and until another one dies, and that's the iPhone 12 mini. The iPhone 12 mini scores 10 hours and 56 minutes, and that's 2 hours more than the iPhone SE, which is a big improvement and again is very good for lighter use, but not much more. So let's see which phone is next, and we have to wait a couple of hours more. So all the rest of the phones do quite a bit better than these two smaller ones. And finally, at about the same time, the iPhone 13 mini and the iPhone 12 tap out, and we'll just record them at the same rate at 12 hours and 33 minutes on the clock for both. So it's official, the new mini lasts as long as the iPhone 12 in terms of this type of lighter use, and I'll take that. That's a pretty good battery upgrade. It's actually 1.5 hours longer than on the 12 mini. Basically that's just in line with Apple's own numbers. So far so good, let's see how the other phones do, and for that we have to wait just a bit more. Right as we speak, the iPhone 12 Pro also dies and lasts about as much as the regular iPhone 12. At this point we're entering the territory of above average battery life. So let's fast forward and see which phone will die next, and that happens to be the iPhone 13 with 13 hours and 43 minutes, and that's about an hour and 10 minutes better than the iPhone 12, which is another decent upgrade, so Apple has indeed increased the battery life here. At this point we only have 3 phones left, but let's not wait it out and once again zip forward and look at that. The iPhone 12 Pro Max is suddenly dead. That's a surprise. Last year's bigger iPhone scores 14 hours and 6 minutes, that's the final score, but the smaller iPhone 13 Pro is still running and has juice left. This year the iPhone 13 Pro actually has a smaller battery than the non-Pro version, but despite that it lasts longer with a more efficient display which uses variable refresh rate. So of course it would be no surprise, but yes, it's the next one to bite the dust with a hugely impressive score of 14 hours and 44 minutes. Very good showing, and actually that's mind-blowing for a 6.1-inch phone and shows that Apple really went to work with this model. It's no surprise that the only phone left right now is the iPhone 13 Pro Max, but how long will it last exactly? We have to wait and then wait again until finally it also dies with a score of 18 hours and 52 minutes. That is just insane. This score crushes not only all previous iPhones, it's also far ahead of the competition too. And compared to last year's iPhone 12 Pro Max, this is a nearly 30% longer battery life with this type of use. Very impressive. So let's quickly recap the scores. You can pause the video and examine them in detail, but we have to move on to our next test, which is 3D gaming. And that's exciting for the gamers. Here we again have this impressive lineup of 9 iPhones, all fully charged up and ready to go. And again, we'll be draining them to see how long they last when you stress the GPU using games. So for this test, we're using this game as a placeholder run. Just keep that in mind. We have run this test at least 3 times to ensure the results are correct. So we fast forward it again until the iPhone SE suddenly goes black and the time on the clock is 4 hours and 59 minutes. And that really isn't a great score. And if you play games, the SE is probably not the right device. It just dies so quickly. Okay, next up, soon after, the iPhone 12 mini also dies with 5 hours and 10 minutes, just slightly better than the SE, but not by much. Both these phones are not great for gaming. But let's keep on going and keep a close eye on the iPhone 13 mini, which is still going strong for a while. Fast forward, and that's the phone that also goes black now, and the score it gets is 5 hours and 49 minutes, nearly 40 minutes longer than last year's mini, and that's a decent upgrade, but not quite game-changing in any way. Okay, all the other phones still have juice left, so we have to zip forward to that moment when, yep, it's the iPhone 12 that just went black, and along with it the iPhone 12 Pro. Both of them finished this test with an equal score of 6 hours and 46 minutes, which is about average for this test. Alright, let's keep on going. Fast forward, and the next to bite the dust just as we speak, that's the iPhone 13, and we have 7 hours and 26 minutes on the clock, about 40 minutes longer than the 12 series, which again is modest but a welcome upgrade. Just as before, the iPhone 13 Pro keeps on going longer despite a smaller battery, and that's really remarkable. So again, fast forward and stop right here. That's a surprise. The iPhone 12 Pro Max gets the black screen before the iPhone 13 Pro. The smaller 13 Pro beats the bigger phone from last year. The 12 Pro Max finishes the test with a respectable score of 8 hours and 1 minute. And very soon after, as we speak, the iPhone 13 Pro also gets the black screen at 8 hours and 5 minutes, a tiny bit longer. So again, it's no surprise, but the iPhone 13 Pro Max takes the cake and eats it as it keeps on rocking with still a lot of charge left. But let's not wait for long hours and just skip forward until right here. That's the moment it taps out finally with a score of 10 hours and 29 minutes. Wow, what a run. The 13 Pro Max beats its predecessor by more than 2 hours in this gaming test, and it is the true and undisputed iPhone battery champion. So once again, let's recap the scores. The iPhone SE and the 12 mini were at the bottom, then we got a bit of an upgrade with the 13 mini, then we have the iPhone 12 and iPhone 12 Pro in the middle, the regular 13 gave us a bump over that, and then we have the winners. So there you have it guys, the ultimate iPhone battery test shows that Apple indeed delivers improved battery life, but especially so on the iPhone 13 Pro and the iPhone 13 Pro Max. And yes, the iPhone 13 Pro Max wins it, and by a big margin, so it's a great phone if you really want the best battery life. But I personally am a fan of smaller phones, as I mentioned, so I'm actually more excited about the battery improvements in the iPhone 13 Pro, which is much more compact and easier to carry around, but still packs a big boost in battery life. And as for the mini and the iPhone 13, they're a bit better than last year's models, but not quite as impressive. So did you expect these results, and do you think that we have reached kind of peak battery life performance with the iPhone 13 series for the next few years? It certainly seems so to me. Hit me up in the comments with your thoughts, and a sub to the channel would be awesome. Also, don't forget that we have all our battery test results over at our website phonearena.com. I'll just drop a link in the description below. My name is Vic, thanks for sticking until the end, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.